We're doing the outro as the intro.
Love it. I actually like that a lot.
I kind of like the outro. It's very calming. It's Friday. It's week 1. We're talking the rest of week 1. Oldie but a goodie. Jason Gold is on. We haven't done a show in so long. I'm so excited. How's it going?
It's going great. I don't think that we've done a show since the NFL draft. I can't be more excited for week 1. It's my favorite day of the year. I always joke with my friends. This is my favorite day of the year. My favorite time of the year is the fourth quarter of the Rose Bowl for a weird reason. But this is my favorite day of the year. I can't wait for it to get going.
That's when the peak hits. Last night was a good game, too. I feel like a lot of times we get duds as the first game, but that was a good game. Maybe I think tonight is going to end up being low scoring. Do you have thoughts on tonight's game?
Yeah, I do. And I'm actually going to kind of disagree with you here for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I understand why the angle for an under seems likely. Like you're on a 10-hour flight. Everyone's going to be sloppy. No one really wants to be there. It seems like the Eagles are pretty pissed off, actually, that they have to be here week 1 for this game. I think the Packers are kind of young, dumb, and hungry, and they're like, all right, cool, we'll play whoever, wherever. But, week 1 tends to be a little sloppy, look towards the under generally. However, both of these teams have new defensive coordinators against good offenses. Usually that leads to a over in this game. So I actually kind of like this up to 51. There's a lot of value still on the board here. I think we're going to see some points. I think we're going to see some fireworks. And I like the Packers a lot as a teaser piece. Yes. Otherwise, more or less a stay away. I haven't played any props in this game, but I know that the queen of props has some for this game, so I'm ready to hear what you got. Yeah.
Yeah, I do have a few. Before we get into 3, 2, 1, if you're also new to the show, we used to do that. We've been doing this now. What is this? This is like year 2, year 3.
Like 4? Yeah, maybe 4. I don't know. It's a while.
So 3 sides, 2 totals, and 1 dog. Is that how we did it, or 1 money line?
1 money line.
1 money line.
It's a dog. Same difference. Yeah.
That I obviously took a dog, but my Survivor contest is still open on Splash Sports. $20 entry. It filled up quite a bit. I think the pot is at like 2,500 right now. So get in that if you haven't. It'll be in the description in a little bit. But let's get right into it. What is your first 3?
I'm actually gonna, before we even get to that, I want to do a free ad for Splash Sports. Some of the overlays on what they have on their guaranteed contest are nuts. So make sure to download that app. And there's some incredible value right now. So make sure to sign up before Sunday. All right. So first side on the board. Are we going to do this based on circle lines or any number that's out there available in the market?
We can do any number.
Okay.
Yes. Usually I feel like I would go with the circle line. But
okay. So the circle line in this game is 2.5, which is making me question this. But available in the market right now is a +3 on Indianapolis at home against Houston. Divisional dogs week 1, absolutely outstanding. It's something like 71% against the spread. Yes. I think that people are underestimating what Anthony Richardson's going to look like here. And, Houston's a really good team. I think everybody's super high on them. They might end up being a great team that can go to the Super Bowl or make a deep playoff run. But give me the Anthony Richardson-led Colts at home, getting a field goal. Yes. Divisional dog week 1. I have to do it.
Yeah. And I think, trends, I love to just go against trends, and I get it. Like the Colts have not won week 1, blah blah blah. I've heard it all week. I'm with you. That's actually one that's on my card as well. I think I love what Houston did defensively, bringing in Danielle Hunter, CJ Stroud. I don't foresee him having a sophomore slump. I think that's also a little bit overdone here, but I think that Anthony Richardson being back, I just think they're going to come out of the gates. And I think the +3, I see them covering that number.
Totally with you. I love that you're on the same page as me.
It's going to happen. What's your next 3?
I'm going to go with, let's go with Tennessee +3.5 at Chicago. This is one that I'm going to follow the trends here.
I was testing you because I wanted to see if it was one of mine, and it is. So go ahead.
You got to do it. Tennessee +3.5. I bet this at 4.5 earlier in the week. Love that it's come down to 3.5. I'd still play it at 3.5. I would play this to 3. I think that people are underestimating how good Tennessee's offense potentially could be. I like their offensive line. Obviously, I love Bill Callahan being there, coaching up the offensive line. I think Will Levis is probably a little bit underrated right now. Some of the defensive additions that they made, I know Jamal Adams is going to be out. I don't think that makes that much of a difference, but I think they're going to be good. And I think Chicago in time will be good. I think it's going to take a little bit of time here. So give me the hook on the road for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this Titans team is going to be really like scrappy this year. Like I just think that I think that Will Levis is in such a good position to succeed because what they've done is just put as many things around him as possible so that if it doesn't go well, they could just be like, all right, you're done. Bye. Like, because you have everything you need. And a lot of teams should honestly do that, but they don't. So I think he's in a great spot. I like quite a few props. Not quite a few, but I like some props in that game. I'm with you on that one. My first one, and this is people were not like amused that I gave this out. So I'm interested to see how you feel. I like the Jets plus 4.5.
Yeah.
I think there's just a lot going on in San Francisco. Like there was a lot of commotion, a lot of distractions. Someone was shot. Like it was like there's just a lot of things going on over there. I think Rodgers he goes back home. He's from that area. He's back after this horrible injury. I think that secondary up against this, I think again, Jets defense is getting kind of underrated. And I think they cover the 4.5, whether, San Francisco pulls out the win, fine, so be it. But the 4.5, I think the Jets can cover that.
All right. So I'm going to go into a little bit of math here. I'm kind of with you. In general, on the surface, I like the Jets here, but I'm running a new system this year.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so San Francisco on my power ranking spread, I have them at -4. So just getting 4.5 makes sense there. I have like a bunch of different categories that I take into account here, but San Francisco has an advantage based on the turf, the conference value, the travel value. So travel value is basically traveling from east to west, playing at night on a Monday is worth 7 points historically to the home team in this spot. So my line on San Francisco for this game, hilariously, is San Francisco -11, which is a 3-star bet. So I'm still playing with the system. We'll see what ends up working out, but I can't play the Jets in this position. This is more of a wait and see. And if this thing ends up being right, there's going to be a lot of Monday night teams, especially on the West Coast, that I'm going to be betting this year. But just for that reason, just looking at my pure math here, I can't take the Jets. But if we're just doing what our own personal power ratings are, yes, I think the Jets are the play in this game.
Yeah, which is weird because I feel like I'm never really a Jets girl when it comes down to it. Like it's kind of painful to bet on them, but something about it and something about San Francisco, and like I could just see them losing the first one here. So
I mean, everything. There's two other things. So everything's going against San Francisco, right? Like Trent Williams just came back, Ayuk came back, Pearsall got shot. They're coming off a Super Bowl loss, which for the record is worth -4.
4-20, right? The last several,
So on this sheet, the Jets get +4 for the Super Bowl losers playing in this game, and for the next 3 weeks, weeks 2, 3, and 4, you're supposed to take off 2 points against San Francisco for the first 4 weeks. So keep that in mind going forward. But yeah, I mean, I really like this Jets team. They're built all over the place. If Rodgers is healthy, they could be a monster.
Breece Hall, I don't know. I think we're gonna see a lot of running in this game. What's your next 3 or last 3, I guess?
My last one. Torn on this one. The number that I wanted to play is probably out of the market at this point. I really like Detroit -3.5. Yeah. Now it's at 4, 4.5. I'd probably still play it at 4, not at 4.5. I think they're in a great spot Sunday Night Football to take out the Rams and have an awesome game. But for the purposes of this, I'll give you a number that's really on the board. I'm going to go with Washington +3.5 at Tampa Bay.
Oh, we disagree here.
I'm super down on Tampa Bay this year. Okay. I could understand the other angle, like Jaden Daniels' first game, it kind of applies the same way as Caleb Williams, but giving me the hook on the road, I kind of like Washington. They have a lot of veterans on that team. I think that the way to play Washington's going to be earlier in the year when all these vets are healthy. Yeah. I think as you get older and they get younger during the season, I think it's going to be harder. But yeah, I like them with the hook in the spot.
Do you have any concern using him, looking at that? People are probably so sick of me talking about this. I swear to God, it's all been my only talking point all summer. But is there no concern? And it feels like there's no concern by anyone but me that their O-line is not good. And what if Jaden Daniels gets hurt? So I feel like there's kind of an argument to use them a little bit earlier on. No?
I mean, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. And I also get the RG3 thing is still kind of hanging out there for everybody in Washington, that this looks like the same similar setup. You have this dynamic, amazing runner, great passer, young, fast, and he's playing behind a bad O-line in a shitty stadium.
Johnson as the coach.
Yeah. So I get it. Like, there's a chance that he gets injured, which is maybe even why earlier in the season I kind of want to play them more than I'm going to want to later in the season.
Yeah. I think with Washington's secondary would be my only other knock, where I think if they can get going, Tampa could be passing like all over the place on these guys.
Yeah. It's definitely a concern.
Yeah. Did any sides not make the 3 that you want to mention before? The only other one that I flirted with, but it's starting to become a little bit popular, is Arizona plus 6.5. Thought about adding that one in here. I think this game's gonna be pretty high scoring, but I couldn't fully get there.
Yeah, we'll talk about this game when we get to the over-unders that we want to talk about.
Okay.
Because
we can just jump right into it. Is that one of yours?
Yeah, that is one of mine. The only other side that I wanted to mention really quickly is Jacksonville plus 3.5. That number's going to probably end up at 3. I think that game could be pretty high scoring too. Miami's got a lot of issues defensively, a lot of injuries in this game. I think that's going to be like a 30 to 27 game either way. So I'll carry this over. I like the over in that game, 49. I think we can get up to 50, 51 by the time we kick off, pending all the weather situation in Florida. So keep a monitor on that one. But yeah, I do like the over in that game, and I think it'll be tight.
And I haven't played it yet, but I think ETN is very pretty sneaky in this situation. Like, I could see the Jags getting something really going on the ground against Miami here, and I think that's why I stayed away. It was on my list too as like a potential, but I didn't end up getting there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about Arizona Buffalo? The Arizona Buffalo one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this dropped down from 48 to 47. I think this is a weather issue.
Okay.
Watch out for the weather, but if the weather doesn't become in play, like, this number should fly over.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a concern if Arizona scores early and they take the lead, they might just sit on this and run it with Connor all day long. If Buffalo jumps out to a lead, and this is going to happen a lot with Arizona this year, if they're behind in games, they're going to unleash this attack, and Kyler's going to throw a bunch of times, and these games are going to sail over because their defense is still ass. So
it is, and they did nothing about it. They were just like, we're just fine with it being ass.
Yeah, like, their games all year might just be like 34-30. So yeah, I really like the over here. I like that it's dropping pending the weather. I'm not going to double down on this bet yet, but I'm tempted at 47. If it's clear or clear enough, got to hammer the over here, at least for me.
Yeah, I did already take the over for this game because I didn't want to take the 6.5. I kind of wanted to. There's a couple props I like in this game quite a bit. My next total was the Dallas-Cleveland game. I got it at under 42.5. It's 41. I saw it down to 40.5 before I jumped on. I think this is just going to be a defensive battle. I think that's all. There's really not much more to say about it. I think Dallas's offense, they still have CD, but then outside of that, it gets a little weird. Ferguson's kind of a sleeper this year, probably going to be a guy that I bet on quite a bit. Didn't like his numbers this week. They were super juiced, but and we don't really know with Watson. I think the days of Watson being a solid starter are kind of behind us. I like Jerome Ford in this game, but I don't foresee this being a high scoring game.
I totally get that, and I think that you're right on the money.
You disagree with me, don't you?
No. The total has dropped so much. I'm just going to tell you that I bet that I made early in the summer. I bet Dallas Cleveland over 44.5, and that's the only bet that I regret from the entire summer for week 1. And I'm so mad at myself that I totally misread the situation that game. But just being transparent about, I got a terrible number. Okay. I bet the over. I suck, and I think that I'm wrong.
We're all really honest. If we want me to be really honest here, I'll tell you something I bet on that I absolutely hate. The first bet I placed over the summer was Vikings over 6.5, and I really hate that bet now. Okay. now I feel really silly. I thought it was a really awesome bet. I got a really good number on it, and now it just doesn't. It feels dirty now. So. Yeah.
Oh man, those middle summer bets when you have nothing else going on, and then you're totally wrong. Nothing worse.
I'm there's no way the Vikings lose less than 7 games. Come on. Speaking of the Vikings, this bet you're gonna hate. Like I know, but I have to stand on business. I don't love it as much as like when I took this after a couple high noons, but I still think there's something to it. I do like the Minnesota Giants and Giants game to go over the 41.5. I think it's just gonna be disgusting. Like I think that game is just gonna get gross and it's just gonna be back and forth between the two. These secondaries are gross. And I just see this. Maybe I'm just hoping for touchdowns for once that I'm like, I just need it so bad to start the season because I can't take the Giants not scoring any touchdowns anymore. But I can just see this going over.
No, I actually kind of like the angle on the over in this game. Like everybody's down on Darnold, but they still have Justin Jefferson. The run game with Aaron Jones is going to be good until he gets injured. Yeah. So I could see the Vikings offense having success. I think Darnold's going to play okay, decent under O'Connell. O'Connell's gotten good stuff out of a lot of worse quarterbacks than Sam Darnold. So I could see that. The Giants defense, I know other than the defensive line is not really spectacular at all. So I could see some points from the other side. Yeah. And then the Vikings defense, like it's average, mid, like at best. And if Flores doesn't pull off what he did last year, like they could be up Schitt's Creek. And I kind of like the fact I like that Daboll took over the offense. He knows that he has to win this year. I think he's going to have pedal to the metal early. Yeah. They have Leak. Like I don't know. That could make a huge difference for opening up that offense for Daniel Jones. And then on top of that, you have 2 great pick 6 artists in Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold. So I don't know. I feel like a defensive touchdown in this game. I'm going to give you a prop. Defensive touchdown in this game.
Yeah, I was just about to say maybe there needs to be – I might have to bet on both of these defenses to score. I think I would rather play it that way than the interceptions because they're already – like those numbers are disgusting because I obviously –
I'm sure.
Things I looked at. But you're probably better off betting the defense. And if you're going to do that, always make sure it's on a book that also gives you the special teams because sometimes they don't do that. And it's really frustrating because it's always the game that you bet it.
You need that.
You got to be careful. You got to get a little bit of insurance on that one. Any other totals that you like here?
I'm going to give you all the totals that I've already bet. Some of these numbers aren't available, but I'll run through them. Carolina game over 40, Pittsburgh game over 41. I think that one jumped back down to 41.5 because of the Russell Wilson injury. Still like it with Fields in play. Dallas over 44.5. We talked about that. That's dead. Arizona 47.5 over. Chargers, Raiders first half under 20.5. Really like that. I think it'll be slow. Everybody's going to run the ball. Harbaugh Central. That game should be like 10-7.5 at most. Those are the only other totals that I didn't talk about.
Okay. What's your money line pick?
Ooh, the big dog. I feel like, that's what we should call this segment, the big dog. Yeah, I'm going to go. Let's go with something that I haven't talked about. Let's go Carolina money line over the Saints.
Okay. I was wondering if you're going to bring it up.
Yeah, I think Dave Canales is going to have him rolling. I hate Dennis Allen. He's a terrible coach. Derek Carr, so whatever. Their offensive line is ass. It's just a matter of can Carolina get home and put pressure on Derek Carr? If they can, I think they have a really good chance to win. If they can't, a little dicier, but I think Carolina's got a shot here.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I'm a little bit torn. I think that the Steelers were interesting until now. Russell Wilson isn't feeling whatever he's hurt, whatever is going on. Is Justin Fields? Does anyone know if Justin Fields is starting yet? Is that a thing?
No, it's not out yet. Okay. But it looks like it's Fields. It's going to lean that way.
I guess I don't know if I really care that much because they're still going to be able to run the ball. It feels like such a it's already a letdown spot because of the hype. You know what I mean? It's not a letdown spot, but it literally feels like a letdown spot for them. I think I'm going to roll with the Titans. I think that also an already letdown spot. I get the hype around Caleb, but I think this Titans team is also a little bit better than people realize.
What do we think about? I'm just going to throw the most random one out there. With any shot that the New England Patriots win against the Bengals, given everything that's happening with Cincinnati?
I've been saying it. I've literally been saying it. Like my boss at Propeller said that he would eat dog shit if that happens. And I'm like, I feel like you're going to regret that. Like I feel
You'd be like the Florida State guy.
Everyone needs to stop talking about eating dog shit. Like, I don't know why my whole timeline is about eating dog shit, but that's like, is it boys being boys or do we just need to stop? I don't know. I don't feel great about it. Now T. Higgins is hurt. Jamar is like starting to enter into this like very diva status that I'm not loving. It feels distracting. Burrow is coming back in. Like, I don't know. It's starting to feel gross. I think that the Patriots, again, kind of like we saw last year, like their defense still like kept them like in a couple games. Like there's something to like there. So I don't know. I'm like, I can't take him in Survivor. Like, I get it. That's what everyone's like, take Cincy. I can't do it. I have a bad feeling that this is the year that like everyone gets like totally wiped out.
It's kind of a tough week 1 schedule for Survivor. Like I'm rolling with Seattle just because I love Bo Nix. I love obviously having an Oregon quarterback there, and I'm a little higher on the Broncos than probably I should be. But first game environment wise, going to the 12s, and they have a lot of momentum this summer. I really like Ryan Grubb as their offensive coordinator. I like the fact that Mike McDonald's going to have that defense rolling around. I think that's a really tough spot for a really young Denver team. So, yeah, I kind of like Seattle there to roll. I think they're a little safer than somehow. I think it's a little safer than the Bengals versus the Patriots.
Yeah, I don't like hate that either. I think I'm between them. I just can't take the Bengals. I know I'm not going to do it. There's just a 0% chance. And then I like the Bucks, but I'm starting to feel less confident about that. And who was the other team? And then the only other team that I would kind of consider is like the Saints. But again, I also don't. This is a tough week 1 for Survivor.
Well, if you take like my rules from last year, which was basically you don't take division teams, you don't take road teams, and they got to be a big favorite. Like there's not a whole lot. It's like Cincinnati, Seattle, Buffalo are like the really elite options here, and no one feels good about the Bengals. The Bills are probably okay, but do you want to use the Bills week 1? And then Seattle, it's like, all right, well, it's a good spot, but it's a new coach. So you're taking a risk anywhere.
It sucks. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. Let's get into some player props that we like. We can do it smash or pass style. What's one of the player props that you're looking at?
All right, I'm going to start off with your boy, Daniel Jones, over 29.5 rushing yards. Book it.
Oh. All right, I will smash that. That's fine. I'm here for it. I'll just stick in that game. Honestly, we can just run through whenever the games come up because we'll be here all day if not. Aaron Jones. Okay. This is like I can't comprehend why everyone is ignoring the fact that Hawkinson's not there. Darnold is a shitty quarterback. There's going to be so many checkdowns to Aaron Jones. You can get plus money on his over 2.5 receptions. I also like his over 13.5 receiving yards. That's at -114. I think Darnold's just going to have Dexter in his face, and then he's going to check down to Aaron Jones. Like that's how I see a lot of the game going for the Vikings. Any thoughts on Aaron Jones?
I don't hate it. I agree with your point that I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I haven't thought about it. I hadn't thought about the angle. So, yeah, I can see the check down angle, especially he's going to be skittish in the pocket at some point.
What is it going to be? Johnny Munn? Like maybe, but they don't even have the lines out for him. So I did bet him anytime touchdown plus 700, and it came down to plus 450. So when Johnny Munn scores a touchdown, everyone needs to make sure that they congratulate me because that was
I did this on Carson Steele last night. That didn't happen, but I like betting it anyways.
But it feels good. That's right.
Yeah, it felt great.
For the other bets in that game that I have, Neighbors' longest reception is the only way I'm going to play Neighbors so I don't get my feelings hurt. Dable's calling the plays. No more Saquon. Got to start airing it out. Give Danny the confidence week 1. They unretired a dead guy's jersey number for him. Like he's getting the ball. Okay. That's like, I promise you he's getting the ball. They're going to air it out. They're going to take a couple shots downfield. And I don't like the Vikings secondary. So I think if I'm going to play Neighbors, this is the way I've already played it.
It totally makes sense to play it that way, and it kind of reduces your risk on the overall volume in this game. But I do think he's going to be targeted a ton.
Yeah, a ton. And then also the Giants secondary is just not good. So Justin Jefferson, just take the alt line 100 plus at plus 170. So
let's see what else I have in that game. Daniel Jones alt rushing 40 and 50. Those will be up to like plus 400. I think he's going to run a ton in this game. Let me see if I have anything else. Scrolling through my list, I don't see anything that's worth talking about. No.
Okay. What about tonight's game? Any props for tonight's game? No, you said no.
I literally have nothing on this game. If you have any good angle, let me know.
Okay, I think this is where I've landed, and I don't love a lot. I obviously did the Dontavian Wicks longest reception because I just play that every single week at this point. But that number's moved up so much that if you like Dontavian Wicks, I would just take his over receiving because the number is way better. So now it's not really worth it. I got it at 15.5. I think it's up to like 17.5, but his receiving yards are like 20 something. So you're like getting a little bit of value if he gets like 3 more yards. So you might as well just do that because he has more opportunities to go over that. And I think Josh Jacobs' rush attempts is where I landed. The 15.5 you can get, it's a little bit juiced, but I took the over 16.5 plus 105. They have no other running backs that are healthy right now. You can even do his receptions. I just think Jacobs ends up being a little bit more involved in this game. And then my ex, Saquon, I don't hate his receiving yards, minus 105.
I'm doing Saquon anytime touchdown tonight. I can guarantee that's happening. I think it's a huge year for Saquon. I think he's going to absolutely ball out. I think he's going to be a top 5 running back fantasy-wise. So I'm all over him. That might just be because I draft him everywhere and because it's funny to see you hate him.
I don't hate him. I wish him good luck, but I would like to see him not have the game that everyone's expecting. I'm not going to say I wouldn't be happy. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a monster tonight.
I want to play Devontae Smith. I just don't know how. So it might be anytime touchdown. Yeah, I just don't know how I want to play him yet. So I'll probably post that. And I did take Jordan Love over 7.5 rushing yards. I wanted to take him to throw an interception because he's 1-7. The Packers are 1-7 when he's thrown an interception. But I don't like the number, so I didn't end up taking it. But last year he had like 13 rush yards per game. So, and the Eagles allowed quite a bit. So I think he can get this in one rush. So that was the only other play I had in that game. What other props are you looking at?
I'll give out the 2 that I bet the most amount of money on. Jamison Williams over 39.5 receiving yards for the Lions on Sunday night, especially with the Rams cornerback issues. I'm assuming that they're going to try and bracket Amon-Ra as much as they can. I think that JMO over the top, that he might be able to hit this on 1. So over longest reception 2 is probably in play for me as we get down the line here. And then JSN over 45.5 receiving yards. I think this is a monster. He's going to go way over. Lockett is banged up, and they're going to the Broncos are going to put all of their coverage. They're going to have Surtain on DK Metcalf. JSN's going to be open all game. I already like him in fantasy this year. I think he could have 70 or 80 receiving yards in this game.
Yeah, I am with you on that. I also have bet that. Didn't make my list on what I was going to put out, but I think you're totally right in that thinking. Even though I don't know how I feel about Seattle as a whole this year, I do think JSN is going to have a good year. Let's see what else I have. I'm talking about that Bills-Cardinals game. These are 2 bets I actually like quite a bit. Dalton Kincaid to go over 50.5 receiving yards, minus 113. It's Kincaid and Shakir. Keon he's looked interesting in training camp so far. Curtis Samuel is banged up. No Stephon Diggs. I think the 50.5 is pretty low for a guy that I think is going to be heavily involved. And Arizona's secondary. I mean, I think they were ranked by PFF, if you care about that stuff, like 32nd going into this week. It's just not pretty. And then Kyler Murray to go over passing and rushing 262.5.
If they're playing from behind, that's a smash over. So hopefully the Bills jump out, it kind of makes sense for everything. That game, the ones I was looking at, I haven't bet it yet, but James Cook over rushing plus receiving yards, 81.5. Like that one. And then Curtis Samuel under 3.5 receptions in that one as well.
Love that.
I just don't think he's going to be very involved.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. What else did I have here? Let's see. Running out. I think I have like 3 left. Jalen McMillan, the rookie for Tampa Bay against that Washington secondary. Washington secondary. His receiving yards are only 23 and a half. And that feels very low for a guy that's getting like in a shitload of training camp love. His longest reception is 14 and a half. You could play it whatever way you want. But again, those numbers are so close together. I almost rather take the receiving yards in case he gets another reception. And then Mike Evans to go over his yards, 67 and a half.
I like the Evans one. I think if they're going to go over the top, it's always Evans. And while Evans is healthy, he seems like he's always healthy, but when he's healthy, he's got to be the guy.
I'll probably play his longest reception too, to be honest. I don't know. I think it was 24 and a half when I looked. Because I just foresee them just trying to air the ball as much as possible. It's 25 and a half now. I don't know about that. Maybe though. We'll see. And then here's one that you're definitely going to hate, but I'm forcing this narrative on everyone. I just don't think Josh Palmer is like going to be as bad as everyone thinks. He's their wide receiver 1. Like, I get the running. Like, I've heard it a million times. I know they're going to run the fucking ball. Like, I get it. I know who the coach is. I got it. He's still the wide receiver 1. And if you listen to me, I'm giving it out again because I gave it out earlier in the week. It was 44 and a half was his receiving yards. So that number is 51 and a half now. Like, I just see him going over this number. His receptions are still sitting at 4.5. I like the yards better. He's still their number 1 receiver. They're still going to pass the ball. It doesn't feel like a lot for him.
I mean, DJ Shark going out certainly helps your case there.
Yeah, that does help as well.
So I don't hate it. I love it, in fact. I drafted Josh Palmer a bunch. I think he's the number 1 receiver on that team. And yeah, they're going to run the ball a shit ton. They also still have Justin Herbert. Like, he's going to throw the football. So you got to throw it to someone. I'm in. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. It's still Herbert. It's fine. Anything else that you like?
I think that was it for the props, honestly. I mean, I got a lot that I'm looking at, but nothing that I would recommend or give out right now.
The only thing I really have on here, Stephon Diggs' longest reception was 21 and a half, but I almost took his under receiving yards, so I didn't feel great about taking that. Najee Harris, there's a plus 205 anytime touchdown for him. Some places it's like, on Bet Rivers, it's plus 125 for him to score. So I just like getting any form of value right there on an Arthur Smith running back to get into the end zone. I'm totally fine with that. And then I bet this before all the news came out, so I'll at least admit it. I was really excited to give this out, and now I don't feel excited about it. But Joe Burrow only needs 3 touchdown passes to be tied as the 5th fastest player to reach 100 career touchdown passes. So I bet the 3 at plus 285. But now I don't feel good about it, so don't bet it.
Let's see if I can give out one more interesting one. All right. I don't know if this number's on the board. I have not looked at this, but Justin Fields anytime touchdown. I think he's going to start. I think he's scoring a rushing touchdown. Oh, yeah. And even if he doesn't, if Wilson's limited, like, they're going to have a package for Fields in this game on the goal line. So I like Fields anytime touchdown for sure.
Yeah. This is one about tonight's game in the chat. In tonight's game, Saquon over 15.5 receiving yards and Hurts over 36.5 rushing yards. I gave out the 16.5 earlier. I just like the number on it better, and the 1 yard doesn't bother me. And then Hurts over 36.5. What do you think, Jason?
I kind of like the under there. I'm going to operate under the idea that they got Saquon for a reason. They're trying to alleviate Hurts's, especially early in the season, like, his need to go and get yards on the ground. Now it's naturally going to happen because plays are going to break down, but the Hurts number is always a little inflated here. I'm leaning towards the under there. I think it's probably the right side.
Very nice.
The Saquon thing is just interesting because, like, Jalen doesn't check down. So I'm interested to see if Kellen Moore is going to bring that more out of Hurts' game. It would certainly be good for their offense, I think, if he checked down, especially with a guy like Barkley.
Yeah, absolutely. These are both Irwin anytime touchdown, Chase and Higgins. And then this, I can never, how the hell do you pronounce his name? Because every time I try.
No idea, but I love it.
But I love that. I don't know how to say his fucking name, but I do love that bet. And then anytime touchdowns for Monday, Jordan Mason and Conklin are 2 names that I have circled that I will probably bet by time the weekends. I'd like to add Jerome Ford to my card. Brock Purdy's throwing an interception. That's still plus 105. But I think that's about it. The rest is all just like D-Hop over 20 and a half August. Like very, very on brand stuff for me.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
Yeah. All right.
Week 1. We did it.
Week 1. I know. I go crazy. And I had a really good night. So that means tonight I'm getting absolutely
slaughtered.
I'm gonna get,
That's how it works.
Slaughtered. I had a likely ladder. I had everything. I had a plus 600 parlay. So I'm getting destroyed tonight.
I love it.
Yeah.
Got to do it.
What'd you say?
I said we got to do it. That's how gambling works. Yeah.
That's all she wrote. And if you're not in the Survivor contest on Splash Sports, I'll put it in the description. We had tech issues, so the description's not up, but it'll be up soon. And then I'll be back Monday, 5 p.m. Until then, we'll see you guys later.
Watch him make it, break it.